By Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome in Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day. You're in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon this afternoon. Hope everybody's having a wonderful Tuesday, as we're going to have plenty of things to discuss and talk about as we continue on talking about the situations all going on with Razorback football and getting ready for Notre Dame this weekend, as well as some other things that have happened, of course, in the world of sports, especially some breaking news that happened just now, which we'll get into. But of course, we'll have our heavy hitters presented by HD Roofing Construction and Vibe Checking the Chat, presented by Basis Health, and getting into all the topics that you all want to discuss as well. But fellas, it's Tuesday. How are the vibes here on this day?
Well, I would say that a beautiful day in the great state of Arkansas is relative, but I understand the premise. We can't mix it up just because it's nasty outside, but it's looking a little bit ominous. Is that the word for the skies out there today? It's kind of crazy. Keep your eyes on the Weather Channel, folks. But I'm doing good. I'm not going to lie to you today, boys. I'm tired. I'm worn out, man. But I'm excited to be here for the show today. You're right. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so ready to get into it.
I noticed with the intro, which I love, by the way, at the end, we are no longer turning that damn jukebox on. I noticed I didn't hear Sam Pittman's voice. Was that just a coincidence, or are we done with that at all? But Curtis, you mentioned the weather. By the way, shout out to all the people in the state of Arkansas. There's a lot of people who cover weather. Obviously, there's Dan Scoff does it on the news, but there's a lot of people who just follow the storms, follow the tornadoes, are always keeping people updated. All of them unanimously were like, these next 2 days are about to suck. It's going to be raining for 2 days straight, and it seems like they were right.
Yeah, no, they have been right, but I'm looking at Saturday, and Saturday looks like it's going to be perfect for at least that game, because how depressing. It's already depressing as it is, but how much worse would that be if it was like the Notre Dame game on Saturday, just pouring rain and like everyone's just getting soaked that's there, and they're already mad and upset with the way things are. It would just be terrible. So I'm willing to deal with the weather right now if it means it's going to be nice on Saturday, which it should be. But guys, I know we'll talk about a lot of different things going on with Razorback football and everything, but yesterday when we started the show, there was some breaking news that happened with Bruce Pearl retiring from Auburn. And again, I know we'll talk Arkansas, but as we started the show today, breaking news in the college football landscape, Mike Gundy officially fired. He is out at Oklahoma State. He had an abysmal record last year, an abysmal start to this season. I think everyone knew it was inevitable, but they went ahead and made the move. It's kind of weird because, it's been a few days. It's not like it was the Sunday after a game. He did a press conference and everything. So this is what happened. But as far as this time of year and seeing the openings, man, there's some programs that are upset. And it looks like Mike Gundy was the latest to get the axe over there with the Cowboys.
Well, shout out to Arkansas for being Mike Gundy's last P4 win of his coaching tenure at Oklahoma State. That's company that you like to keep there. I mean, listen, I thought that this might happen at the end of last season. I know he probably built up some grace, over the course of the years there where he had so much success. They were a pretty strong program for the longest, but I think it was pretty clear right away that they did not improve much over the course of the offseason. And then, man, you get beat by Tulsa the way that you did. And I think Tulsa was actually playing their backup quarterback in that game. That's nasty, man. So I'm not surprised that it happened. It is interesting to see the number of programs that are making these moves early, especially with some of the things that we talked about with, the 4-game deal and redshirting and the portal opening and all those different factors. And, UCLA and Virginia Tech and now Oklahoma State are like, yeah, we don't care. We're getting a jump on this here. And I already saw, I know there's some people who are going to not be happy about this. GJ Kinney is one of the first guys to keep an eye on for that job there, according to Chris Hummer. So there you have it. You're in a dogfight for your own top coaching candidates, even though you haven't fired your coach yet, with Oklahoma State.
I tell you, man, if only someone could have seen this coming last offseason and said, man, there are 0 head coaching vacancies in the SEC, not a ton of big Power 4 jobs that were coming open last offseason. It almost seems like last year in December would have been the most ideal time to fire and hire a new coach. But you live and you learn. And so now, like you said, Arkansas is going to have to, there's already a little bit of, 3 Power 4 jobs are already open. We all kind of assume the Florida job is going to be open. I think the Arkansas job is going to be open. And so it's going to be fascinating to see how all these dominoes shake out, how it all goes. But with Gundy, I'm definitely not surprised by this news. It being on Tuesday is weird though, right? Because like you mentioned, John, he did a press conference Monday. We all saw the loss and we were like, oh yeah, that sucks. And that was on Friday, right? So it's like, man, I don't know what the delay was. Maybe they wanted to wait until midway through the week so that nobody could make that decision to not play and then redshirt and do all that. Maybe they thought if they waited till Tuesday, they could avoid that. I don't know. I'm interested by the timing, but definitely not surprised.
See, I'm not either. The timing, like you said, is what I'm fascinated by, and that's kind of what I wanted to use in dealing with Razorback football. Because listen, we talked all about it yesterday. It seems like the writing's on the wall. You got the national media talking about it too, no longer marveling, but they are now saying that it's going to be a bad news deal for Arkansas and all that. But not using it directly with Sam Pittman, but maybe just in a general feeling. Thoughts on when to fire a coach, right? For instance, firing Mike Gundy now, timing wise, during the season, because there's some people that'll say, if you lose this Saturday, don't even let him off the field. You better get fired right then. Brett Bielema him. There's that people. And then there's other people say, hey, well, there's no point firing your coach right now. Wait till the end of the season. And, then you'll know and all that. But is there a right or wrong time to fire a coach? Assuming that it's like if he's a dead man walking, where he's not going to be the head coach next season, no matter what. Is there a rhyme and reason behind the timing of when to do it, how to do it, and at what position to do it as well?
Yeah, I feel like it should be after those potential red shirts are burned. So after that 4-game mark. And then around a bye week, if you're going to do it during the season. It's interesting though, because for a while there, it was like, man, if you fire a coach, like after the last game, where they call it like Black Monday or whatever it is, that used to be where you'd see so much of that. That's why it got that moniker. But then it became a situation where it's like a death sentence for your program for the next couple of years, because you do that at the same time that the portal is open and signing day is going on and all these different factors, to where it's almost impossible for a new coach to come into a program after you fire a guy. You go through that hiring process, you're behind in the portal, you're behind with recruiting. It's really hard to put a roster together, but that's not going to be the case anymore because they're moving that transfer portal back to January. So you have a little bit more time here. I think there's probably something to be said for doing it early or mid-season. That way you get the jump on everybody else, right? You're talking to the agents, you're gauging all the interests and everything like that. You could still do that. Like if Sam Pittman still had his job, I'm sure that whoever's going to be making that hire, I'm not going to say the name that shall not be spoken here, but he could be sending out those feelers and having those conversations anyway. But I do think it hits a little bit different when a job is officially open, because then not only are you reaching out to see, who might be interested, but other people are reaching out to you. And so I think there's some value there in doing it early if you need to. We'll see what Arkansas winds up doing. Hell, they might just beat Notre Dame this weekend and then nobody's going to be talking about it anymore.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll just stop altogether. But no, I think when you're thinking about making the case for why you would not fire a coach mid-season or early in the season, or you'd kick the can down the road, the case would revolve around keeping your roster together, keeping this season intact, keeping the vibe you have going, like not ruining it completely, not abandoning ship. I think that's the worry. And I think for Arkansas, and I mean, let's just be honest here. We're talking about Arkansas right here. I think when you're Arkansas trying to make this decision, I think this week is a very good week to figure out of like, all right, if we fire this guy, we're abandoning ship on this season. Okay, but is this season worth keeping intact? Is this roster worth keeping intact? Will the pros of riding this season out outweigh the cons of not getting that jump start, not being able to have a long time to make these decisions? Because you also might have to have an AD situation. You might have to have a head coach. You have a lot of things you have to figure out. For me personally, when I look at the situation, and we touched on it there at the beginning, that like the value of being the only SEC team with a job opening, I think is valuable. I mean, it's not a secret. There's a lot of coaches who their life goal is to coach in the SEC. I think there's value in, even if it's 1 week, maybe it's a month, maybe it's 2 months, maybe it's the entire offseason. I think there is value in Arkansas being the only job opening in the SEC. And we're looking over at Florida. They're the obvious one that is probably going to make a change at some point this year or maybe after the year. I would want to get a jump start on them. Now, of course, I'm not saying Arkansas is going to beat out Florida for the best coaching candidate on the market, but I think if you're Arkansas, you have to put yourself in the best situation possible while also considering all these other factors. And so I think this week is very important for the university to get on the same page about that and really list out all the pros and cons of like, hey, if we do ride this thing out, what does that mean? How much positive will that actually bring us? Will it lead us to having a good season? Will it keep a lot of this roster or this staff intact? Will it keep the fan base showing up to games? Those questions will be answered in due time, but I think the university has to spend this next 7 days or so to really figure that out and know what they want to do, because I think you cannot wait around and kind of see how it plays out and just wait. And I think the vibe of the fan base and the tenor of the fan base this week is pretty eye-opening for them, I would imagine, and they're probably looking around saying, damn, we don't want to fire the guy, and, we'd like to keep everything intact, but, like, is it even really worth it? Because, I mean, look how mad everyone is, and what happens if only 20,000 people show up Saturday against Notre Dame? Will that change things? I'm sure it will, but I think all these things are not as cut and dry as we like to make it out to seem.
Yeah, and, I remember we only know what we've experienced. We only know what we remember seeing, and what we all remember, of course, was the deal where you fired Chad Morris with, 2 games left, I believe, 2 games left in the season. And you were the first team in the SEC to have an opening at head coach. And you were the last team to fill that vacancy. That was something that I think it was Mississippi State. They hired Mike Leach. Ole Miss hired Lane Kiffin. Missouri hired Eli Drinkwitz. And I wanted to say there was another one that happened at that same time in the SEC. Maybe it was Beamer at South Carolina. I can't remember exactly, but either way, I think Razorback fans, because again, we're specifically talking about that. That's what they know, is they remember what happened when they fired a coach early, and they did that way back in the day with Jack Crow. They fired him after like game 2 or 3 because he lost to the Citadel, had an interim, ended up with Danny Ford as the permanent, even though he was on staff. The problem is, I think it was what people is just, Arkansas has not had many situations where it worked out in a positive whenever they ended up firing a coach in the very beginning. And maybe they're a little bit gun shy of that, because even Mike or Nolan Richardson, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was fired, and there was a couple of games that Mike Anderson coached, ended up getting Stan Heath. So there's a little bit of gun shyness to it, maybe for Razorback fans, but also in the case of, and this is why timing is so important on everything. If there's an element to where Hunter Yurachek's not going to be the AD here anymore, and Sam Pittman's not going to be the head coach in here anymore. This is not a very common thing elsewhere where you have to replace the AD and the head coach at the same time. Arkansas has been there, and Arkansas remembers the results and how much of a disaster it was. I mean, we had Julie Cromer people sitting in front of everybody, like, I'm gonna make the hire. I'm gonna be the one that hires a coach. Like, no, you're not. Like, you're not. And so I think it's like, I get when people are like, I do the firing and all that, but it's just like, man, you gotta do your due diligence. And I agree with you, Andrew. Like, this week needs to be crucial for what your plan is if you decide to make a move next week or whenever, because as we've seen, it can get very disastrous. It's disastrous now, but man, you can really put yourself in a bad position if you're Arkansas, especially if there's other jobs that are opening up where you're going to get left behind and you're going to have another issue to where you're going to be holding the bag because you don't have an AD in place. You don't know what you're doing in that spot. You don't know what you're doing as head coach. It could just be a really tough thing. And Razorback fans remember it pretty well.
Yeah, the Yurachek aspect of this throws a wrench in pretty much everything, doesn't it? That's a good point. And the other thing too, that I was thinking about this last night, how many people leading into this season when they're doing previews and everything else, national media, different talking heads, heard so many people say, yeah, this is Pittman's last year. Yeah, this is Sam's last year. It was like this quiet understanding, and it didn't have anything to do with how this season was going to play out either. Like, a lot of people were just saying, like, yeah, it's going to be his final year at Arkansas, and then he's out of here. It wasn't, they're going to have a horrible season and he's going to get fired in the middle of it. So I also wonder, like, if there's truth to that, how does that impact things here? Like, if you already knew, let's say this is true, that this is going to be his final year anyway, were you just okay with the results no matter what? You know what I mean? Or does the timing change after you lose to a Memphis or whatever? There's just so many different factors in here, because you guys are right. I know it's easy to look at it and be like, all right, yeah, make the move. Let's get a jump stop on it. Oh, we're getting behind everybody else who's got these openings already. But there's so many different factors here that some of these other schools aren't facing, whether it's the uncertainty with your athletic director situation, who's going to be making the next hire, the understanding of what was going on with this coaching situation after last year, going into this year. It is complicated and it's a little bit cloudy. I'm really interested to see how it all plays out. This weekend is going to be fascinating to see, because I continue to look at this Notre Dame line and I'm thinking, do people know something? Like, how the hell is this a 4.5 point line right now? I know Notre Dame hasn't been that impressive throughout the course of the season, but you kind of feel like you've got an Arkansas team that might be on the brink of either it's going to go one of two ways, right? Like they're going to rally behind the Gipper or they're going to completely let go of the rope here. And there's going to be a lot of consequence that comes from this one way or the other. So I don't know. Buckle up. I'm excited to watch it for different reasons than I thought I would be at the beginning of the year when we were thinking College Game Day would be in town for this particular weekend.
Yeah, Curtis, you make a great point in that this isn't the most stunning development. You know what I mean? Like the idea that we're talking about Sam Pittman's job status. So that makes you wonder how many people inside the building of the operations at Arkansas were preparing for something like this, you know what I mean? Or knew that this might be a thing. I think the Petrino aspect is also fascinating. And of course, we talked a lot about Brandon Marcello's reporting and we trust his reporting. Like, I think there's definitely something there. I wonder what the tenor of those conversations are, because I think that factors in. If you're going to make a move mid-season, of course, you're going to have to hire an interim. Seems he's already started that process of hiring or positioning himself as the possible interim. What does that look like in terms of what he's selling of, hey, if you make this move now, let me run the show and then see what I can do? I wonder how much that's going to play in, and that's not me arguing for Bobby Petrino big picture or saying he's going to be the next head coach of the University of Arkansas, but I wonder how much his role in those conversations behind closed doors wind up factoring into this whole when they make the move situation.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It really is. And we'll continue to talk about that here in a second, folks. But I want to remind everybody that OZK Insurance, one of our great sponsors here at Inside Arkansas. I know a lot of you are needing insurance and wanting to know more about insurance. Well, nobody wants to deal with the hassle of shopping around. It's really tough to do. But that's why we always recommend OZK Insurance, because they're based right here in the great state of Arkansas, and they shop multiple carriers to find the best coverage and price for you, whether it's home, auto, business, you name it, they're going to do it. And it can be Saturdays like this Saturday at Razorback Stadium or everyday life. You want to have protection that you can count on each and every time. So count on OZK Insurance and get a free online quote today at ozkinsurance.com. That's ozkinsurance.com. Or you can call 479-715-4200. It's OZK Insurance, protection made simple. But yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Bobby Petrino angle, because that's man, I don't know how the end result of this is going to look like, but we're not short of any sort of drama in Razorback athletics when it comes to off the field, off the court stuff. You think about the Petrino firing, hiring, like all that stuff that went on. You think about the situation with Sam Pittman, Chad Morris. Think about the Eric Musselman thing and what was all going on. It's like these are commonalities, but it's one of those things to where there's so many different people involved. It's not just a simple like head coach bad, get fired. Like, there's a lot of cases where that is the way it's done at athletic programs. But now it's like, not only is it the Sam Pittman head coach situation and angle, but then the Yurachek angle, and now the Bobby Petrino angle. It's like you got this thing where everyone's kind of looking around of like, well, what's going to happen here? Like who's going to win out in this? Who's going to have their way? Who's going to approach it? And that's what I'm with you, Curtis. It's fun, and it's exciting to kind of look at from maybe a content and a story perspective. But it's also like, are all three of them going to lose? Are all three of them going to be gone? Is it truly something where, hey, we're going with Petrino over here? Or is it something where Pittman's like, hey, I'm out, deuces, I don't care what you do? Like there's just a lot of different big major ego and personalities involved in this, rather than just, hey, head coach needs to go. There's just too many factors into this.
Who knew that this was going to be the real triangle that involves Arkansas athletics? Crazy, ain't it?
Who would have guessed?
Who would have guessed? Who would have guessed? Yeah, it's wild, man. It's just so many different angles to look at with this. The Petrino thing is so interesting to me, with Marcello's reporting there and everything. Because like Sam Pittman's not naive to the conversations going on around him, and he's probably not naive. If there's truth to this whole deal about Petrino working the phones and everything like that, he's probably not naive to that either. Like, do you get it? Like, do you understand? Okay, this is a business. It's going to be part of the deal. Like, hey, I know my rear end is on the line, and it's going to be somebody who takes over for me if they let me go. So, like, do you take that personal if you're him or not? Like, is that something that creates any animosity? I think Sam Pittman might be the type of guy who would just kind of get it. Like, I think he understands that, but I don't know for sure. There's just a lot of stuff going on, it feels like, behind the scenes that don't involve preparing for Notre Dame and trying to win football games on Saturdays.
I think that's an interesting, point to make. And I also think, how is that relationship happening right now? Like,
Sure.
what is Bobby currently doing? Is he undermining Pittman? Is he just stepping back and letting it blow up so he can take over? My question is, if you're Bobby Petrino and your goal in your heart is you really want to come out of this thing on top and you want to be the head coach, is taking over the week before the Tennessee game really the best way to do that? So it's like, I think if you're Bobby, you're probably hoping Pittman doesn't get fired anytime soon. I know he would be the interim and it would make sense, but it's like, I would maybe want to wait until maybe that Mississippi State game, maybe later in the year where it's like Texas LSU and you don't have anything to lose, but it's like taking over right before the Tennessee game, the Texas A&M game, the Auburn game, like that's a lot of pressure. And I'm sure Bobby, he's a competitor. I'm sure he thinks, hey, yeah, I'll crush it. I'm with you though, Curtis. Like, it's fascinating to see how all this plays out and how all this public positioning is going to go, because you don't really know. There's a lot of egos involved, and it's going to be fascinating. But nobody really knows what's going to happen Saturday. I mean, you mentioned the betting line that's getting down closer and closer. It's like, who the hell knows how this affects how the team is feeling, their psyche going into this game? I would imagine not well, but everyone's already doing the thing of, what if Arkansas wins? What if Arkansas beats Notre Dame? And we're probably going to play that game at some point down this week.
Yeah, I know we will, and that's what is making this season so far, like, because it's so much easier if it's a clear-cut thing of, hey, if you got embarrassed and you got wrecked by Ole Miss and Memphis and you got just ran off the field, it's so cut and dry easy to be like, hey, this team ain't it. This team doesn't got it. They're not playing hard. They've given up. Like the Chad Morris years. It's like you knew, just because they gave up on it. But then it's like, well, I still lost the game, so I'm not defending it or anything. But you're not getting embarrassed. You're not getting run off the field necessarily. It's really tough to where it's not just like cut. It's not like just, hey, you suck, so get out. It's like, well, you're not. I mean, you're not awful. You're not the worst team. You're not an embarrassment, but you're still losing. So against Notre Dame. Like if you come out and you play well again, but you still lose, it's like, well, what does that mean? What does it mean? Does it mean that you're still all in on Pittman as a team? Does it mean that you're better than what you think? Does it mean just that you don't know how to win? Like what? It's a very confusing thing, I think, also for fans, because it's just wins and losses are all that matter, but it's not like it's been in previous times when you wanted a coach gone, where it's just embarrassing and bad and humiliating. It's a very weird dynamic I think fans are fighting with.
It's interesting because I keep going back to the cumulative effect here with Pittman and how that impacts things, because the results on the surface here scream to me, let him go at the end of the season and then make your move for the reasons you just laid out there. Like, man, just can't get over the hump in these one-score games. You just keep finding ways to lose or whatever, but you are competitive. In a way, it's kind of like Florida has been. I know they really struggled against Miami the other day, but like the situation with them and some of those close ones, it's like, all right, yeah, maybe this is just the last year. Whereas you're right, John, like if they went out there and got smacked by Memphis, it's an entirely different conversation immediately. It's like, or, if that game happened at home in Fayetteville, I think it's an entirely different conversation. Look at what just happened to Oklahoma State with Tulsa. Look at what happened to Virginia Tech with Old Dominion. Look at what happened to UCLA in the games that they've played. So you're right. It was just very cut and dry, exactly where those things were headed. It's time, move on right now, no question. And I think a lot of Razorback fans feel the same way about that right now with Arkansas. But if you do look at it, and it's just, again, it just adds to the layers of complication here where you're like, okay, but they, had Ole Miss on the ropes, but it was one play against, so I understand all that. It's really a weird deal all around that Arkansas finds himself in this spot. So I don't know what they're going to do, man.
And the players have so much power here. And it's not as simple as like, oh, if you beat Notre Dame, he's saved. And if you lose to Notre Dame, he's fired. Because to your point, John, there's a very big difference between being there, close, competitive, battling, and not quite making the plays. Hell, we do that every single week. But there's a difference between when you get run off the field and your fans are booing and you openly quit on the field, which, by the way, we've seen happen under Sam Pittman. We've seen happen under Chad Morris. We've seen happen under Houston Nutt. We've seen happen under all these coaches. That's always the time when it's over, is when the players outright quit on the field. If that happens Saturday, that's when I think you will get that. We talk about when they're going to do this. If the players outright quit on the field Saturday, which is extremely possible based on everything we've said and just kind of hell, they they more or less quit against Memphis at portions of that game. If they do that Saturday and get blown out, I do think that the Pittman decision will come within the next 12 hours.
Yep.
But your point, John, if it's close and they're competitive and they lose close, they're still 100% at the end of the year not going to retain Sam Pittman. But it's like it kind of muddies the waters a little bit, and so it is going to be kind of fascinating. And it's like every day it kind of changes a good amount. So anybody who thinks they know how this is going to play out, as we always say, is lying to you. And by the way, I already see people doing the thing where they're like, "Why do you guys want Bobby Petrino as head coach?" Nobody on this panel is making the argument right now that Arkansas should hire Bobby Petrino as the head coach. We're simply talking about if they fire Sam Pittman, which you all want, they're going to hire an interim. It'll most likely be Bobby Petrino. He's been positioning himself. That's what we're referencing. So I clean the earwax out. Just pay attention to what we're saying. We're having nuanced conversations here. Try and keep up. Don't quit harping on stupid crap that we're not even talking about.
Well, but yes, to your point of the what could happen in this weekend, I'm wondering, I don't know the board of trustees and getting into their mind, assuming that they're the ones that's going to have the final say on that. But it does make me wonder, do you think that like maybe silently behind closed doors are kind of like, man, or kind of hope that the players give up so that way it makes our decision so much easier and so much clear cut? Not to say that, because I think, again, I agree that at the end of the season, changes are going to happen, but it's a matter of like, it would just be so weird, and then because, like say if Arkansas did some stupid stuff like win on Saturday, and then the press conference afterwards, because you get to hear from some of the players, I'm assuming it'll be Taylon Green and, Campbell or whoever. And they're going to get asked a question. Hey, did you go out there and did you fight for your head coach? Is that why you played so well? And they go on this long rigmarole about Pittman's our guy. We're fighting for him. We're getting under pressure and all this. And then it's just like fans just become, what is this? Like, what do we do here? It's just because Pittman is a nice guy that everyone says all the time. He's a likable guy. It's just a conundrum, I think is the best way I can put it. It's a conundrum for fans. It's a conundrum for the players. It's a conundrum for the board of trustees. And the worst part about it, and this is really what the kind of the theme is, what we've been talking about, is timing. This is why timing on certain things are so important of, hey, if you're going to make a move on somebody, make the move. And if you want them to make the move and they don't make the move, then you make the move on them. And what I mean by that is, if last year the board trustees or whoever said, hey, Pittman's not the guy, if everyone knew that wasn't the guy, and Yurachek says, no, we need to give him one more year, the board trustee should have been like, okay, well, then you're gone. We'll let Pittman come back another year, but you're gone. We're going to get another AD in here, and then we're going to go after Pittman. Hey, next year we'll see. We'll reevaluate, but we'll see what happens. And you have a new AD who's settled in, and there it goes. Or if it was going to make a move, you make it last year, then a new guy comes in, all that. But then when you got the two that are tied at the hip, it just complicates things. And that's why your timing has to be, I know it's tough, but your timing has to be impeccable on things like this, because it could really, really cause a problem. And there's precedent for this happening. And Arkansas just doesn't want to go through the whole thing where, if Yurachek got fired, but then at the end of the Missouri game of the season, Pittman's fired. I mean, I don't even know who would go up there. Who would go up there and do the press conference like Julie Cromer-Peoples? Who would be Julie Cromer-Peoples this year? Would it be like Elvis Moya of marketing? Like, I don't know. Like, who would it be?
Kyle Parkinson.
Kyle Parkinson walks up there. Mike Haywood sits up there and gives the press conference. What's going on? I don't know. But that's where it's like, there's so much uncertainty. There's so much drama surrounding it. And, it's just weird, because now I can't speak for every Razorback fan, and I can't obviously speak for y'all because y'all can voice your own opinion, but I'm watching these games with excitement and interest for a completely different reason now. It's like, it's not about winning and losing. It's not about, is Taylon Green going to be in the Heisman? No, it's about, what is this team? What are this coaching staff? Who's going to react if someone gets fired? Okay, well, if Bobby Petrino comes in, how does Travis Williams feel about that? There's just so much that's got to have a domino effect that could really get out of hand and out of control quick. And I'm kind of here for it, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. It makes it interesting in a time where things are very frustrating. Also, the answer to your Julie Cromer-Peoples question is just bring Kevin Trainer back.
Yeah.
What about Remy?
Yeah, Remy.
You think Remy might make the call? I don't know. Who knows? Is Remy involved in any of these decisions? And I mean any of these decisions, whether it comes to football, the big picture, the roster. Is he involved in any of these decisions?
It's hard to say.
Has Remy Cofield been to a game yet? Like that would be the main question.
Maybe. But here, the funny thing is, I think the common misconception, because again, when we talk about the Notre Dame game, everyone immediately goes to, well, if they win, does that mean that Pittman stays? And they think it's like this sliding scale that's like, right now he's fired, but if he wins, he's going to go to not fired. And if he loses, then he goes back to fired. I really don't think that's the case. And to the point you made, Curtis, you could make an argument that this decision was already kind of made preseason. I think a lot of people in and around the program, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people around the program definitely went into this thing thinking this is probably it, whether that means Pittman retires, they move on, whatever. Hell, there was an argument to be made last year that last year might have been his last go. So again, it's not even this question of, is Arkansas going to keep Sam Pittman long-term? That is a definitive no. And that's kind of been a no for a long time. Even going into this year, if you thought Arkansas was going 8-4, you still didn't think Sam Pittman was going to be the head coach for a decade. We all kind of knew that. The timing, though, like you said, John, is always the key thing. And here's the thing that people need to consider. The football program accounts for literally like the entire athletic department's revenue. Like you guys going to the games and buying tickets and filling up that stadium pays for everything that this athletic department does for the most part. And as we know, money's pretty tight. So that's the decision everyone's tasked with, is like, if we fire him now, are we punting on 10, 15, 20, are we punting on all those millions of dollars? How is the best way we can analyze this and move forward and get what we want out of our football program while also keeping fans going to games? And that's why it's a lot more nuanced than just, hey, the defense sucks and they're going to prevent us from going 6-6. So let's just fire everyone now. Like they have to handle this with care, but I think we all agree that you can't just sit around and wait and see how it plays out. And I think Saturday is honestly going to tell us way more than any of our conversations can tell us.
The revenue aspect of this is really interesting, Andrew. I'm glad you brought that up. So when all this was going down last year and people were irritated, mediocrity and everything, he's got to go and all that. One of the things that we kept pointing to was, they keep filling up the stadium though. Like we're hearing all these loud voices of discontent, but every Saturday that stadium is full. And I keep going back now to John's poll yesterday, where was it 97% or whatever? People think it's time to make a change with the Razorback football program. We did some of those last year, and it was split a lot. Even as bad as it got at times, it was still split. And now it seems like this overwhelming majority on social media, at least for whatever that represents of the fan base. What is this going to look like on Saturday? And what are things going to look like moving forward here in terms of butts and seats and everything like that? I don't know. It's hard for me to, after last year, to be like, it's probably going to be pretty full. And I understand Notre Dame's coming to town and everything like that. But have we reached the point where the apathy has gotten to the point where you start to see it impacted in the stands? I don't know.
Yeah. Which, by the way, Curtis, this is the one game all year preseason. You looked at the ticket prices. You looked at how many they had already sold. And I know a lot of those tickets are now showing back up. Mm-hmm. This is the one game. And so to that whole point, this Saturday is going to be eye-opening for a lot of reasons. Let's say the stadium is half full Saturday. I think that would 100% change the way the entire athletic department views this whole situation of like, oh, crap, we've already lost them. We might as well. I really do think it would have an impact. And I also think it would have an impact if there's 65, 70,000 people there. I think if there are, it's gonna change the situation.
Well, how do we feel about the Razorback raffle this week?
I'm sure it'll pop off.
Right, I see. That's another element to the freaking Razorback raffle I even thought of. But I tell you, I want to keep talking about this because I think it's really fascinating. But I want to remind everybody, Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas is your place for all of your professional holiday lighting. And we have a great deal going on for you right now where they're going to be giving away a free Halloween lighting setup and install at your home. And we are going to be the ones that are giving it away. It's a real simple thing to do. If you're in the Northwest Arkansas River Valley, just go to insidearkansas.com/giveaways. Insidearkansas.com/giveaways. Fill out that form, and you're going to be in the mix for a drawing that we're going to have on Friday at Inside Arkansas Live at Alumni Hall to be able to have a chance to win a free Halloween lighting setup. Curtis has it. I actually had some family members that's gotten it. I had some people, some of you listeners that have gotten it too, and it is awesome. It is a really cool thing, and they're going to be giving it away for free to a lucky listener of Inside Arkansas. So be sure to fill out that form over there at insidearkansas.com/giveaways. And remember, they provide all your materials. They install it. They give you free maintenance. They're the best in the business for a reason. So text our guy, Brett, for a free estimate at 479-459-1380. That's 479-459-1380. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. Okay, so you were talking about the scenarios of finances and everything, and I want to run through that. But first, starting with the leadership deal, like leadership comes with a price, and the sliding scale, I think, is what you said, Andrew. Of if they win the game, then we're fine here, and we're keeping Pittman. It's like, here's what I'm hoping: whoever is going to be the leader in this has to step up, and it's not Yurachek. We all know that it's not Yurachek. It's not Pittman. Is it a board of trustee member, or is it the board of trustees in general? Is it a major donor booster? Is it John Tyson? I don't care who it is, but whoever steps up, they have to have already their decision made, because the second that you start wavering on a decision like that is when it's going to get problematic. I always think back, I know it's a different scenario, but I think back to Les Miles at LSU, man. That thing where they were basically saying, the reports coming out, he's fired at the end of the season. It's his last year. It's done. And then I forgot who they beat. Maybe it was A&M. And then they put him on his shoulders and they were waving him off. Yeah, it's because it was his last game. And then the AD comes out, we're keeping Coach Miles. Hooray. And then 2 games into the next season, he's fired. And that was a disaster. Now, it's LSU, because LSU is a bigger school that can overcome something like that. But it's like, that to me was poor leadership. He's like, if you're going to do something, do it. Don't waver. Don't sit back and be like, well, we'll see what happens here. I'm hoping whoever it is, whoever is going to step up and be the leader in this situation at the University of Arkansas in the athletic department, I don't care if it's a booster, I don't care if it's a donor, I don't care if it's board trustees, whoever it is, you got to step up. You got to be firm in your decision. You got to make it, and you got to move forward, and you got to have a plan. Because if you have any sort of nonsense going on, it's going to be a disaster. Whoever it is, I don't know. Maybe the powers that be. Maybe it's the Wizard of Oz in the background. Hey, close that curtain. I don't know. But whoever it is, they have to make sure that whatever decision they've made it, and they're moving forward with it, and there's nothing that can change their mind, period.
Agreed. Yeah, I mean, I agree with that completely. And I have no idea who that person would be. It would probably be a collective of people. Collective is probably not a great word to use right now, given Arkansas stayed there. A group of people. There's power in numbers there. So I think they could probably factor in the situation here.
Well, then not to mention, like, you've got so many decisions. I mean, even back in the day, before all this new era took over, back in the day when you would fire a coach in November, December, it was still a disaster because you had so many things up in the air with your roster, your literal roster, your signing class, all these things. I think you also, like, that's the thing that you really have to get a jump start on. You have to get a jump start just to know who's running the ship. But it's also like, damn, I would really want to have a lot of this figured out before we enter December, which is a disaster, even if you have a returning head coach.
Yeah, I know. Like, I think that because of the leadership element and also the timing, you should go back. I know I keep bringing up timing, but something you guys said was with Notre Dame. If this was a game against Louisiana Monroe coming up at home in Fayetteville, like, it wouldn't even be a thing. It's like, well, yeah, no one's going to show up to that game because no one would really show up to that game anyways. But it's like the one game this year that everyone was going to show up to, and that everybody was actually looking forward to. And because there were probably so many people, so many Razorback fans that 1,000% would not show up given the certain status of the Razorback football team. But because it's Notre Dame, it's like we want to show up. We want to tailgate. Like, that's a whole nother element to all of this, where it's like, dadgummit, man, if you were playing somebody else or some other game, or if it was a road game against Mississippi State or whoever, it would be a completely different animal. But it's like, this weekend is the one game. It's like, okay, well, we definitely want to make sure that we got everyone here and it's excited and it's historical and it's Notre Dame and everything. So it's just another wrinkle in this whole timing of everything, where it's very awkward, and it's almost like no one knows what to do with their hands. Everyone's mad, but like, what do? We just don't know what to do.
Well, the good thing is you don't have another home game for another month after that. So it's like, then you just get to reset.
Honestly. Yeah. And you haven't had a home game in a month up until this point. It's crazy the way it works out. People are going to be excited to be able to just be out there and be a part of all the pomp and circumstance anyway. And everybody's been looking forward to this Notre Dame game for 5 years or however long ago it was scheduled. So it's just, that's just the way it works in these situations, though, for sure. So I don't know, man. I got offered some tickets to go out there to the game, and I just don't know if I'm going to do it or not.
Well, at least come by the Bush Hoggers tailgate. If you do,
and crack of dawn, apparently.
Crack of dawn, yeah. Is this worth getting out there early for? I don't know.
Tailgate starts at first light. That's the motto. No matter what. Even if it's a 6 p.m. game, we're out there at 5 a.m. no matter what. So it's got to happen. But no, but that's what I'm hoping for. Like, again, I don't think that this game is going to have any indication on the future of Sam Pittman or the future of anything else. But I do hope that like Razorback fans at least enjoy the stuff surrounding it. If the game gets out of control, though, the decision will be made simple and the post game will be lively, because I think maybe it'll just be fascinating also to hear, say if Arkansas just got wrecked, which I know we'll talk about what if scenarios later in the week, but Arkansas got wrecked. I'm kind of curious of how that Sam Pittman press conference goes, because then finally it starts being, coach, job, what do you think? And soon, what do you want me to do with that? Like, what do you want me to say? Do you want me to say that I want to be the coach of Arkansas? I want to be the coach of Arkansas. What do you want me to say? I don't know. I don't know what it'll be, but I hate doing this, but it's true. I love final dead man walking coaches press conferences. I love them. Like, they're just so interesting. Like, you guys remember the Chad Morris one? Were you guys, let me ask you, were you guys in the Chad Morris final press conference?
Not in it, but I watched it. I watched it with my entire family.
My favorite thing about that was, I guess the north end zone had just been completed, and you know how they have that window in the press conference room? There was this drunk, because it was, what was it, 11 a.m. against Western Kentucky? There was just this drunk Razorback fan in the window, just staring, just like with the horrid look, but he was hammered, and he was just staring at Chad Morris for the entire time. And I'm like, and I remember that. I remember him, like the notes, like there's just always something very memorable about a coach's final press conference. And so, that would be, if that ended up happening, I find those interesting and entertaining to see just how the approach is, because some coaches will be like, hey, I'm out, like whatever. Some coaches will say dumb things. Some coaches will be like, no, I am the man for the job. I don't know what y'all are talking about. There's just so many things that could happen.
I even enjoyed Bielema's, where he got fired and then did the press conference, which you don't see hardly. I don't know if that's ever happened anywhere else. I'm sure it has, but
man,
really don't see that. And he's like processing it while he's up there. He's like, well, we could have recruited a few more D linemen. He's like kind of thinking about what, like, it's that's tough, bro. Like, that's real life, man. That's a human being like going through something. And I thought Brett handled it pretty well, where obviously he knew it was over, but it was hilarious. Chad being like, there's no doubt about it, I'm the guy. And it's like literally hours away from him being let go. It's just
not the guy.
It's great. It's great television.
Yeah. And also the Brett Bielema one, I remember you guys, again, I don't know if you guys were there or not, but they were doing the north end zone construction. So the press conferences for that year were in that tiny little closet of like, just everyone's just packed in there like sardines. And obviously Bielema's a large individual, and he's like coming in there and he's like moving around. You can tell he's like upset. He's like, yeah, I just got fired. They wanted to fire me before I met with the team and everything. I was like, it was such a weird thing, because I remember, like, I understood the reasoning of why they did it, because they're like, hey, we want to do it, but we don't want you to speak to your team and then us fire you, and then you don't get to speak to them again about your firing. But it was a little weird, because it's like, yeah, he did the press conference, he spoke to the team. And I think it was the same night that Julie Cromer Peoples just sat there and was like going through everything. And at the time, you're living in the moment, but looking back, I was like, that was a wild, like 3 or 4 hours of stuff, because they had just lost, and then lost to Missouri by 3 to Barry Odom, ironically enough. And it was just, or was it Barry Odom? I don't remember. Either way, it doesn't matter.
It was Barry Odom, and it was a close game too. That's what's funny. It's like they almost won it. It was like a 52-48 shootout type of thing.
No, again, everyone talks about coaching searches. It's great for content, I can tell you that, but this one's going to be a unique one. I think this one will be one for the ages, just given the circumstances of NIL, transfer portal, the current state of the Razorback program, what they feel, how they feel. This could get interesting. Maybe they'll do like a Netflix documentary on all this, starting with all this good stuff that could come around. But
I'm sure Hogs Plus could put something together. It's pretty solid about it all.
Hey, listen, I would watch it.
I would too.
I would 100% watch it and see what was going on there.
Although when a head coach gets fired, don't they usually like fire a lot of the people as well? Like the media team and the video guys and the, like would that put things on pause for a while?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, obviously there's a lot of people at Hogs Plus who they're going to keep their jobs no matter what, but it's like I think it would be kind of interesting to see like how that would play out.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing about it all, is the domino effect or the trickle down at how many other people that you don't even anticipate who get impacted by something like this.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part of it all too, is how that works for folks. And I guess it all depends on who was brought in by the, particular staff, or if they were already holdovers, or what that looks like. But it's uncomfortable times over there in the athletic department. No doubt about it.
I have a list of people that I really, really hope keep their job. Absolutely. But I also have a list of people that I will not be dissatisfied with if they go a different direction in the athletic department.
Well, and that's the thing is like, it's, you got to remember everyone's like, oh, well, the coach gets paid a ton of money. I was like, yeah, Pittman will get taken care of. There's a lot of people that are just making next to no money that are going to be looking for a new job. And you hope so. But that's, again, I get it. You feel for those people, but at the same time, that's part of the industry. It's just part of the industry. And there's a reason why when you look at like a new coach or a new analyst or whatever, you look at their resume, geez, why have they been to 8 different schools in 10 years? Like sometimes firings happen. You got to go find another job and everything. Mm-hmm. And it's like, and Curtis, I want to bring up, any bad memories, but it's like when COVID happened and, you were coaching and everything, it's like sometimes just unforeseen circumstances happen where you're like, got to figure something out and you got to do something.
Sometimes they shut down the whole damn department and send all of you packing, as you know.
Yeah. Show up to campus one more time, wear a mask. We're going to put you in a classroom. You're going to get a Zoom call with the president of the university who tells you you're fired.
Did they keep you on mute or did they at least allow your microphone to be on?
Oh, we didn't get to say anything.
Oh,
we were just all sitting there together and it's like, hey, it's been real. We appreciate you guys. We're shutting this thing down at the end of the week. Here's your information on Cobra Insurance, and we'll send you some severance paperwork. Good luck. Thanks for your contributions.
And then,
man, it's not fun. I don't wish that on anybody.
Yeah. Well, that just goes to show you, folks, if you're over there at the university and you end up losing your job and then for some way, just reach out to Trey Biddy and get you a job. Go the Curtis route.
Thank God for Trey Biddy, man. Otherwise, I'd be in Cedar Rapids, Iowa right now. And I just tell you, it's not where I wanted to be. So it all worked out the way it was supposed to.
Hey, you would have had that program rolling in no time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I tell you what would have happened. Lawson Blake wouldn't have been a Razorback. That's what would have happened there.
You would have been down on the corner of MLK with a busted accordion, like just looking around, just trying to get any sort of funding thrown your way too. So we'll continue our discussion here on Inside Arkansas Live. I want to remind everybody, Hickey and Hull Law, they are our official legal team here at Inside Arkansas. They're the best in the business. They've handled thousands of different cases, but especially when it comes to family law cases, and have experienced every scenario that may come up. Divorce and custody cases, especially, folks. Those are tough ones. Those are tough ones to deal with because it involves people you love, people you care about, but you want to make sure you're protected. Well, make sure that you're doing it the right way. Make sure that you have everything and your ducks in a row, and make sure you use Hickey and Hull Law here in Arkansas because they're going to make sure they take care of you. They take it seriously. They're going to give you all the advising that you need to make sure that you are good to go and that you get out of there with the best representation possible. So give them a call today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. Or you can also check out their website at hickeyandhull.com. Scan that QR code on your screen as well to get that access. It's hickeyandhull.com. Things are about to get better. All right. I know we're continuing talking football. We'll get to chats, folks. Really appreciate it. But I did want to bring this up as well. What do y'all make of John Calipari's tweet today? I meant to pull the image of it, but for those you didn't know, they pulled out the video, if you want to call it a hype video, whatever, for the Razorback football team playing out today, like the hype video for Notre Dame, essentially is what it was. And then Cal comes out here and quote tweets and says, "Can't wait to watch Razorback football take on Notre Dame Saturday. I know the work Coach Pittman and his staff put in day and day out alongside the players. It's not easy. My team will be there on Saturday to cheer this football team on. Let's go." What do you make of that tweet?
I'm fine with it. Like whatever, rallying the troops. The other thing about this that stood out to me with Cal, in a way, he was in a very similar situation at the end of his tenure at Kentucky. You know what I mean? Where he'd been there for a while. Now, obviously, he had done far greater accomplishments had been achieved for John Calipari in Lexington than Sam Pittman has in Fayetteville. But you put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, and there's a lot of equity put into these jobs. And I imagine it doesn't feel good when a place that you devoted so much to doesn't want you around anymore. And those voices are becoming louder and louder and stronger and stronger. I'm sure that in a way, John Calipari can relate to that, given the way things went down there at the end in Lexington. And so that probably played a role in what he said there as well. And I'm sure those guys have a good relationship and everything. And he's also a guy who's just supporting the athletic department. And it's funny because he could have gone the opposite route like he did when he was at Kentucky trying to get that practice facility, right? Where he was like, listen, this is a basketball school, and he pissed off Stoops. And if you guys remember that whole back and forth that they had, but I bet it was bringing up some, stirring some bad memories for the man. And so he's throwing a little support at Pittman, but he gets it. It's a business.
Yeah, I love Cal doing that. I mean, listen, I'm sure if I'm sure there are people out there who really interpreted this as like, oh, Cal is trying to, prop up mediocrity. Blah, blah, blah. He's just being a good dude. He's just being a good leader. Frankly, I mean, this is a guy that has a very powerful voice, and he's not really using it to say anything crazy. He's just like, hey, I hope the football team wins Saturday, which I think is cool. I wish other head coaches at the University of Arkansas, not saying any names, would take that similar approach and would maybe support their guys. I just can't help but notice that the one head coach who's about to get canned is the one head coach who wouldn't congratulate Dave Van Horn on his trip to the College World Series or say anything about any other sports when he used to do that kind of stuff. So honestly, I'm all for Cal doing that, and I wish more people that were in leadership positions that have prominent voices would speak out and support their brethren.
I'm on day 118 of politely asking Sam Pittman to
people got so butthurt when I did that, Curtis. I'm talking about like every single day. I would just tweet it out, and it was like a kind of little joke. People would be like, why are you being mean to Sam Pittman? He's doing his best, man. Come on, don't do this. I'm just like, I literally just want him to say something nice about the baseball program, which, by the way, all the baseball players go to all his games. They support him. Vahiva Aloy is going to get handed his trophy on the football field this weekend, and it sucks.
Yeah. Chinook sunflower seed. Shout out to them. But here's the thing: is you guys were so nice about it and made a lot more better points than I was going to do, and the take I was going to have. I was just going to say he was excited about it because he's Catholic and they're playing Notre Dame. That was the only approach I was going to say. Like, yeah, that's why.
That probably factors in too. In fairness, yeah.
I was thinking about it. I was like, not to say that he's rooting for Notre Dame, but it's like, hey, this game probably means a lot more to him. He's like, yeah, Catholics, Notre Dame, Rudy, and
I do think there's also something to be said about the fact that they had so many things planned for this Notre Dame game. Not necessarily that Cal tweet, but it's like the Vahiva Aloy thing. Like, I'm sure there's so many people who are coming back for this. And I think that's another hilarious aspect of this is that, like, they can't just cancel all of those things. They can't just put all of them on pause. It's like they got to run through the hype video that they have scheduled. They're going to put it out on Friday. It's like there's a lot of things that just have to go business as usual this week, including Coach Cal's sentiments.
Mm-hmm. When do you think? I can't wait to see. Like, when does Aloy get his trophy? They wait. You can't do none of this in the second half. Like, this has to be early going stuff.
I think they said second quarter was when it's
second quarter for him. I'm saying, like, I guess in compare, like, because the basketball team's going to roll out there. It's like, fans, please welcome to the field the 2025-2026 Razorback men's basketball team with John Calipari and Call the Hawk. Woo! So it's like, I wonder if like have that happen first media timeout, man. Get these people out of the way and get people started up, because if it gets out of hand, there's nothing more sad than seeing fans or like a team roll out there trying to call the Hogs in front of 20,000 people and Donald W. Reynolds. That's a tough thing.
I feel bad for the troop that's going to get honored in the fourth quarter. The soldier salute, the guy that's they're going to give his whole story, and they're going to be doing this, and everybody's going to stand up. There's going to be 12,000 people left by that point.
Man, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, again, what do? You got these things scheduled. You got to do them. You got to roll through them. You got to take care of them. You got to make it happen. So, but yeah, again, I don't have any problem with Cal doing that at all. I was just thinking it was funny because of the Catholic angle. That was mainly, but that's how my sick mind works and what I was thinking about. So, anyway, I mean, that was a guy that's like, when I heard him speak the other day, he was just literally the reasons I came to Arkansas, other than winning national championship courses. One, they got a Catholic church close by to campus. It's like, that was his main thing. I was like, man, this dude, he loves him some mass, loves him some Catholic church. So we can't wait to see Cal and the boys out there on Saturday too. It's going to be great. If you can't go for the Razorback football team and you're done with them, go for the Hog basketball team. Go for Vahiva Aloy. Go for the positives. Go for those guys. They deserve.
You want to generate some buzz in that crowd on Saturday. You let Amir Brown lead the Hog call during a timeout. That's what you do.
Shoot, let him run out of the A with the team leading them out with the flag.
Yes.
let him do that. Let him do whatever he wants to do, man, out there. That's what I would be all about. So, all right, we'll have our heavy hitters here in a bit, but let's go ahead and jump into the chat presented by our friends over at Basis Health, where they are changing the way that healthcare is delivered by providing those mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. A doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They're here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more over at basishealth.org. You can also scan that QR code right there on your screen. Really appreciate our guy Dre being a part of Inside Arkansas each and every day. And speaking of our guy Dre, giving us a few super chats. Appreciate it, my man. He says, Lou Holtz sitting in a sea of empty seats is sad and a funny thought, which is a great point because I haven't brought this up. Lou Holtz is going to be at the game. He's been putting out these videos. Yeah, he put out a video that he's going to be at the game. He's coming down. And it's part of, I think it's like the Notre Dame Club of Arkansas that's hosting him, which, that is a thing.
Wow.
So, they're like hosting him and he's going to be in the stands. And I laugh because in the video, I tried to pull it, but it was on Facebook and Facebook videos are weird. But he's like looking at tickets and stuff. I was trying to look at him like, dude, okay, that'd be funny if you're like at section like 580, like up there in the, in the nosebleeds because he's up there in years. But either way, it is a cool thing though that Lou Holtz is going because obviously championship iconic coach at Notre Dame, but also at Arkansas. So that's a cool thing that's going to be happening.
The one good moment of Sam Pittman's press conference yesterday was when he was asked about Lou Holtz, and he was like, "No, I haven't met him. I haven't spoken to him." Which also, like, how has he not met Lou Holtz? How's that? I've met Lou Holtz. How has he not met Lou Holtz? But he was like, "Yeah, I went to his football camp when I was in high school or in college or something," and he was like, "He didn't know me, but I knew him."
Actually, you know what's weird, Ellis, is I've met Lou Holtz too. Why did you meet Lou Holtz?
I met Lou Holtz at a Doghouse Sports Grill in Ruston, Louisiana, whenever his son, Skip, was the head coach at Louisiana Tech, and I was eating dinner there, and I was like, I've got to go introduce myself to Lou Holtz. And in Ruston, you know how Ruston's not necessarily a sports town. Nobody knew who Lou Holtz was. Like, he was literally just eating dinner, just like vibing with his family. And I'm like, nobody wants to go talk to Lou Holtz. And this is like right when he stopped being with ESPN. And I was just like, I got to introduce myself.
Yeah. Well, that's completely opposite of the story I had. I just met him because he spoke at some U of A event that I happened to go to. This was like 10, 11, 12 years ago. But either way, and just this is random, speaking of Lou Holtz, I still am reminiscing about the old days of college football final, man, with Lou Holtz, Mark May, and Reese Davis. What was it? Dr. Lou. And then you had
they give out those stickers too.
Yeah, the helmet stickers. What was it when I think it was when Lou Holtz lost his mind? He started cussing on the airs when they were doing like the judge, like presenting arguments, and he just like got mad. Anyways, it was just really
those dentures would start to slip in and out every now and then mid segment. They'd start just kind of rattling around in there.
Yeah, he would. Yeah, they would. Also, our guy Dre Shy says over under that Gundy gets mentioned 50 times in the chat. Well, I think we've seen probably the over.
There's been a lot of people that have pulled up and been like, "Hey, I'm here late." Or have y'all talked about Gundy?
Yeah.
Like,
we did
confirm that Mike Gundy's been fired.
Yeah. We brought it up at the beginning. If you want to listen to it, just scroll to the beginning. Shout out to David Football. I don't know if David's ever given a super chat, but we appreciate it. Fire Pittman, hire John Gruden. All right. Okay. We appreciate it. We'll send the message. We'll let him know about it.
That's not how you spell John Gruden, but
we appreciate it. It's spelled the right way is the way that David's over there doing it. But also David sent this super chat with no message. I assume that your message was so we appreciate you not sending one in your $2 one, but sending the right one in the $10 one. That means a lot. So yeah. Look at Quinn, our guy Quinn saying, since y'all have missed me, I am here watching. Hey, thanks, Quinn.
Dude, I triggered Quinn this morning. I got him. I baited him. I successfully clickbaited Quinn.
Well, it's not like that's the most difficult thing to do. Right? Let's be honest here.
We had some good discourse in the DMs today about Bruce Pearl and Stephen Pearl and how that whole situation is going to go down there. Talk about crazy times, wild times over there at Auburn, man. Yeah,
I do love how many Auburn fans have just immediately talked themselves into like this is the coolest thing ever. They're like, oh yeah, of course he retired and gave it to his son, even though he hates nepotism apparently. This is awesome.
Yeah. Which I do want to bring something up with Bruce Pearl here in a bit because I know there's some discussions to be had. But just remember, Quinn, regardless of the Razorback situation, we're still going to be seeing you here in a few weeks. I guess roughly a month when Auburn comes to town. And, we're still going to have a good time. That game's at 11 a.m., right? Or 11 a.m. noon? I think it's like
11 noon. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll still have a good time, Quinn. And what's great about it is, honestly, now I don't have to worry much about Quinn getting in fights with Razorback fans or anything, because Razorback fans are just going to be basically reserved and giving up, so they don't have to talk trash. It's going to be great. Yeah. Unless you bring up basketball, Quinn, then some words may be exchanged.
Well, he should come to the exhibition game with us the night before and see a real basketball team play.
He should.
Okay, yeah, that's when the fights will break out in the exhibition game beforehand. That's when it'll go down. All right, let's see. Those band geeks said, "Damn, new intro is going hard." Okay, well there you go. Appreciate it. Those band geeks. Shout out to our guy Gibb. John Sullivan says, "Only the team could get as hype as the chat." It's one way to put it with the chat is getting hype and everything. Austin says Gundy lost his job to a backup quarterback and a G5 opponent. Sounds reasonable to me. Yeah.
I mean, when you put it that way,
Yeah. It's true.
Dang.
Even though the backup quarterback, I don't know if the backup quarterback won, was the reason they won the game, but is definitely the reason why people really threw in the towel at the end. Because not saying it would have changed because the loss is the loss, but doesn't it feel like that play made the temperature go up even hotter for people on that one play at the end where Arkansas was probably going to lose no matter what, and people were still going to be mad. But seeing the effort on that final play with the backup quarterback in just really elevated people to a new level of pissed off.
Yeah. I was madder about that than I was the fumble.
Me too. I was too. Yeah. Like, again, seeing Ian Giffard, your largest man, and some others just let a backup quarterback drag. It was 8 yards, 9 yards. Yeah. Pathetic.
And then there's Larry Worth and Singletary. There are all kinds of guys who were around that could have gotten involved in that play, even if your 400-pound defensive tackle was getting drugged. That was a damning play for the state of this program. Man.
I was this close to almost buying the Ian Giffard thing. Because I've been an Ian Giffard hater where I'm he never makes any plays. Then all of a sudden it had been, I think, 2 or 3 games. He would have a tackle for loss. He would at least do one good thing every now and then. And I was like, you know what? PFF grade's not that bad. That play, I'm all the way out now. Now I'm back on it. And I'm like, I'm never giving that credit anymore.
Tough, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was brutal. Let's see. Also, Lazuzo Eagle said it would be the most Arkansas thing to lose to Memphis and then beat Notre Dame and or Tennessee. It would be.
Yeah, I mean.
But I just don't see it happening, just to be honest. Especially not Tennessee. If Notre Dame might be your better bet, but man, I don't know what to expect. I have no idea what to expect on Saturday.
Are we doing the thing where we're undervaluing Notre Dame for 2 very competitive losses against really good teams?
Dude, especially with how good Miami looks. Miami is a freaking juggernaut, dude. There is no shame in losing to them.
They ran through South Florida, who is everybody's darling. They ran through Florida with ease. Miami's the real deal, man. That was a road game for Notre Dame there, the first start for CJ Carr. A&M, I mean, they look pretty damn good so far. Now, Notre Dame's defense isn't what people expected it to be, but they're still really, really good at football. So
you guys know I'm very high on A&M. I think they're legit. So I don't view that 41-40 loss at the last second as a huge knock on them. I'm kind of with you. I also still in a weird way think Notre Dame is beatable, but I don't think I don't think Arkansas is beating them. And I also don't think it would be the most Arkansas thing ever to win a big game against a notable opponent. I don't think that's I get the premise of hey, we lose to teams we're not supposed to beat, and every now and then we beat. I don't think that would be the most Arkansas thing ever. I think the most Arkansas thing ever would be the team quitting on the coach and you losing 49-3.
or you having a big lead and you blew it and you lost by 1 possession because you fumbled the ball at the goal line or something.
That's a good point. Losing by 1 possession to Notre Dame actually might be the most Arkansas thing ever.
Could you imagine if Arkansas lost 3 weeks in a row because they fumbled late? Where if they were just back in the same situation, you just kick a field goal, you probably win, but you fumble. Mm-hmm. Could you imagine? And it'd be somebody different. So I don't even want to think.
Notre Dame. I mean, the chances are obviously a lot slimmer than they were at the beginning of the year, but they're still playing for a college football playoff spot. You have 2 losses, you have to win out, and you might even need a little bit of help along the way there, but they have a lot to play for still. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be highly motivated coming in here. It's not like they're in a situation where, all their hopes and dreams are already shattered and they've, let go of the rope and packed it in for the year either. So,
yeah. Well, and also with the current playoff situation, and not saying that it's easy, but 2 losses does not put you out of the playoff, especially if you're Notre Dame.
Man, who are you competing with? Memphis?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're still in a good spot. Let's see. Also, shout out to Quinn. He says, yeah, I'm excited about that. He also says, if I get 4 tickets to the game, would y'all sit with me? I won't celebrate too much or rub it in. You talking about the basketball or you talking about the football?
He's talking about football.
I will 1,000% sit with you.
I am so sorry. I wish I could, but I already have a season ticket that's been bought and paid for. So, yeah, we'll be there with you in spirit. Maybe we'll come hang out with you.
I will leave at the beginning of the fourth quarter to go do the post-game show, but I will be with you. I will be with you for the game. Absolutely.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe by that point in time, you may be able to get some really good seats for cheap. So
yeah, man, wait till like the Thursday before. We'll get $40 StubHub tickets for third row of 50-yard line.
Yeah, it could absolutely happen that way. Okay, we'll get to more of your chats as well as your our heavy hitters in a second too. But just as part of our Alumni Hall question of the day presented by Alumni Hall, we're going to be there this Friday, folks. This Friday from 12 to 2, we will be live at 3417 North College Avenue. And a lot of you are going to be coming into town for the Arkansas Notre Dame game. A lot of you are just going to need some new Razorback gear with basketball season stopping up. And a lot of people just want to come see us because we're really cool people. And that's what you need to do when you come to Alumni Hall. You got to check out because they got full stock of everything. Some new Johnny O's that are in stock there. And we're going to tell you all about it. And also, if you want to get outfitted with an official Razorback gear from Alumni Hall, one lucky winner is going to win up to $250 worth of officially licensed Razorback gear. All you got to do is go to insidearkansas.com/alumni hall, insidearkansas.com/alumni hall. You go there and you'll see the big link to where you can put yourself in a position to get a drawing for a $250 gift card to Alumni Hall. And you can check it out there as well. So no matter what it is, do with Alumni Hall. It's the ultimate Razorback shopping experience. Again, we'll be there on Friday from 12 to 2. All right, just real quick, guys. I know we haven't talked much about this, but we can kind of go through this quickly. Just yesterday, and it's going to come out tonight, Arkansas playing Texas, LSU, and Missouri in football as your permanent opponents in the 9-game schedule moving forward. I'm just curious because I think we were all in agreement where the SEC feel like did a pretty good job, not in a position of upset. I just asked, are you okay? Not are you pumped? Not are you pissed? Are you okay with Arkansas's 3 permanent opponents being Texas, LSU, and Missouri? I don't know if you guys have looked at the poll, but if you were to guess between yes and no, what would you say were the percentages, unless you've already looked?
Got to be a lot of yes, right?
I would say the majority of folks would be happy with it, okay with it.
Yeah, no,
I know people don't like Missouri.
Yeah,
so maybe anybody that voted no probably did because of them, but it's like I don't think people are that upset about it, right?
Yeah.
That's my only thought is for me, it would be, I would just like to see him replace Missouri with Ole Miss. I really feel like Ole Miss should have been on there. Or I could subscribe to Andrew's theory of give us, Kentucky and like when they do the schedule reveal tonight, I hope Arkansas gets post Diego Pavia Vanderbilt on the schedule. Like you could have done something like that, but the opponents they have, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, I personally would have loved Oklahoma too, just for the closeness. But either way, no. But you guys were right, and 84% say yes.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah. So pretty overwhelming. Because I think again, you're not going to make everybody happy and giving them all 3 teams that you want. But I think Arkansas fans are like, hey, we wanted Texas for the old school folks, LSU maybe for some of the new school folks, and then Missouri is just what you're going to get stuck with. So I feel like, hey, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, and you got to be happy if you get 2 out of 3 teams that you wanted. So it makes sense there.
Yeah. They are doing that tonight, right? Like they're all the games for next year. They're okay.
Yep.
What do we? I mean, are you gonna you have to go to Georgia or Bama? I wonder what this looks like. Is there going to be any balance at all? Like, do you get one of those teams that we just talked about of maybe potentially a win or one of the bottom teams, or are they just going to get absolutely screwed like they did with that 10-game schedule in 2020?
Man,
you got to call off the dogs at some point, man. Like,
I
think you got to look at it. And I also, of course, in reality, they're not basing this decision on how much you're suffering, but I don't know. I'm going in with 0 expectations. I haven't put a ton of thought into it in terms of how they're going to make a 9-game schedule work with 16 teams. So I'm not educated enough to know the likelihood that they screw Arkansas, but I feel like it's pretty high.
Yeah, because this is what it's according to the statement. It's going to be for the next 4 years, and it's not even just the permanent opponents; it's all the opponents. So, like, you're going to know where you're playing and who you're playing for the next 4 years, which is such a crazy thing to think about. So we'll see. But yeah, it also makes me wonder if, like, I didn't know this maybe is over exaggerating, but if somebody's sitting there and looking at Arkansas' schedule, be like, yeah, I ain't going there now. If I was a head coach, like, I ain't taking that first year. Like, I ain't going out there and doing all that crap.
If you looked at the permanent opponents, and we pulled it up yesterday, it had the list of everybody. It seems like they purposely gave everyone one good team and one bad team. Like, not actually bad, but like they tried to schedule it out. So I honestly call me crazy. I think there's going to be a decent amount of balance on the schedule. Of there will be a Bama or a Georgia or somebody, but when are you ever going to get an easy one?
Yeah. Well, all I know is that you better have, if you're Arkansas, you better get the 5 home games in the SEC next year, since you're going on the road in the non-conference against Utah.
Yeah.
That would suck if you literally have 6 road games and 6 home games. It doesn't need to happen. So surely they've taken that in consideration too, as far as who's playing who on the road and all of that, and making that possible. But I assume that you'll get Texas and LSU and Texas and LSU at home next year, because you're playing them on the road, and then you'll get Missouri on the road. So I feel like that's 2 or 3 of those. At least you kind of have an idea of where you're going to be playing them. But the rest of it, yeah, man, just honestly, I know everybody wants to have it, but I feel like it truly has been forever since Arkansas's played Vanderbilt. Like, you're talking about since 2018, they played them, and then Kentucky was in 2019. So those 2 teams, it would be nice to play them after a long hiatus, or in South Carolina too. When was the last time they played South Carolina? Oh, I guess actually
2021.
Yeah, never mind. I
But
keep
still.
forgetting the game. Yeah. It's been a while. So either way, but that'll be happening tonight. So we'll have some fun with that. Okay, so a few more of these super chats before we move on to heavy hitters. Quinn just says, "Deal, I'll get 3 tickets then. Thank you. You're welcome."
I'm looking forward to that, man.
Yeah, you're welcome, man. Our guy David Flippo, appreciate it. He says, "I predict Arkansas will be up 1 point and get a punt block as time expires and get up to safety to lose."
Oh, jeez.
Man, you guys, I'll be honest. If that happened, I would laugh hysterically, and it's not to be mean. It would just be like so picture perfect of encompassing.
What would be the worst outcome in this game? I feel like we have to say this, but like, I never subscribed to, and I know we've talked about this before, like the rooting for your team to lose because you want an outcome of like whatever. I want Arkansas to win this game Saturday badly. But my question is, what would be the worst outcome for Arkansas? Another heartbreaking last possession, snatch defeat from the jaws of victory loss, or just getting your doors blown off? What would be worse?
I still think. Go ahead, John.
I was just gonna say, I think like losing the same way you've lost the past 2 weeks, because again, you're good enough, you're competitive, you're playing hard at times, I guess, but like you're right there, and then you still found a way to lose. And I think that would be the worst case scenario, because it just is confusing. People are like, what do we do? Like, what do we do here? I think just for the mental pretzel it would put everybody in, and not really knowing what to do and think, would be that.
Yeah.
I will accept that. I really will accept that, because I think that's probably the right answer. Because, again, we talked about it earlier. Like, it would create a little bit of confusion. It wouldn't make it clear what Arkansas needs to do. But I still, in my heart, I feel like getting blown out and your team quitting and then you having to fire the coach is still the worst. Like, because then at least then you can't even give anyone credit, because it's like, dude, you waited until it got bad enough that you had no choice. And I think that would make you look like a coward as an athletic department, more so than just you lose a close game to Notre Dame and then get annoyed and fire the coach. I think that's a more respectable way to go out.
Yeah, I think both situations suck. It just depends on, what it is. But, because again, even if you lose at the end, and that's just brutal because it's confusing. But at the same time, at least you look at it as, okay, well, maybe 3.5 quarters of the game was entertaining, so it's like you had that. But if you get the doors blown off of you, like you got people bouncing out. Again, you got Eva Loy accepting his award with nobody in the stands. It's just kind of like womp womp, very, very awkward and uncomfortable. So
I will say I like David's, disaster class. Like, this the worst scenario he could come up with. Speaking of Mike Gundy, do y'all remember that time they lost to Central Michigan on a crazy? There was like Oklahoma State had the ball up like 5, and there was like 3 seconds left. And the quarterback just throws the ball as far as he can, and to expire the clock. They call intentional grounding, loss of down, turnover on downs, and then Central Michigan gets a play, and it's a Hail Mary. That, I think that's the worst way to lose. I feel like
that's bad.
Yeah, like that's one of those things to where it's like, don't overthink it. Just do the right thing, because stupid plays like that will happen. Also, Evan says, appreciate super chases. Are we going to go 0-12 against those 3 opponents over the 4 years? What? No. I mean,
they're not. But I will say, I wouldn't have said they were going to go 0 and whatever they did for a decade there. Against A&M and then against Missouri.
They'll beat Missouri in there somewhere.
I'm
not going to sit here and say that they're for sure going to beat Texas or LSU.
No. Well,
I think they probably will over the course of 4 years, but I mean, it's not. if I had to project it, probably every season I would go into it and say, no, it's probably going to be a loss on the schedule.
Well, it's like
what pisses me off, Curtis. I was watching Missouri, South Carolina the other day. The difference between Arkansas and those two teams, not that much. Like, it's really not. I know it seems like it. Missouri's good, but like they're not that good. So it's like I would imagine there's got to be a year. Obviously, we don't know who's going to be the coach and all that, but it's like you got to be able to win some of these games against programs that you're not that far away from.
Yeah, well, and it's like I brought up yesterday when the schedule reveal happened. It's like, hey, over the past decade, you've won a total of 3 games against the 3 teams you're playing, and one of them that you've won in that win, that team wasn't even part of the SEC, and they went 5-7. It's like you haven't. You beat that one. You beat LSU with Ed Orgeron when they were a lame duck team and coach, and then you beat Missouri basically when it was your best year, and Missouri was very average in 2021. Like that's it. Mm-hmm. That's it. So,
and the other part of this is you think about these 3 teams and their situations financially compared to what Arkansas is right now. It's like no matter who the coach is, who the athletic director is, whatever, you still have a lot that you have to get rectified from that standpoint as well. It's gonna, I hate to be that guy, but I feel like it's gonna take a little bit of time for them to get it right. So, yeah. I don't know, man.
Which, by the way, real quick, for the schedule reveal tonight, are they going to say which games are going to be the last game of the season type stuff, or is it just the? I think it's just that way people can shut up about LSU and Arkansas might be back on Thanksgiving. It's like I just don't see that happening.
I don't know. I'm going to look it up on because I think they had a press release about it.
Yeah,
and we'll see. But
yeah, I had the press release, pulled up. I just remember it's like one of the people that's going to be on there is going to be Gene Chizik, and I'm like, heck yeah, like he's going to be breaking down the schedule.
Perfect.
These teams. Yeah, old Gene Cheese it. While you're looking that up real quick, Merck says, what's the weather going to be like this weekend? Hopefully not too hot. I'm telling you right now, where it's at right now, it might be the most perfect weather you could ever have. Last time I checked this morning, it's like 76 degrees and sunny, being a high, like perfect. I mean, you're going to be in the sun because it's during the day, but perfect weather.
We're paying the price right now, yes, and we're going to reap the rewards on Saturday. But right now, the weather sucks.
Oh yeah, it's been brutal. A lot of thundering and lightning and all that stuff. So, let's see another chat too before we get to our heavy hitters. And all that. Where was it at? I was going to bring up from just Michael was saying most of the revenue is likely certain through all the ticket sales next year. Not so much will be negativity impacted if Sam was still the coach. So
this is true for the most part. Like in terms of the big picture, the season tickets that you sold, you're not, they're not giving that money back. You're not losing anything there. But there is still something to be said about attendance. And I know that you can sell a lot of tickets and then not have a ton of people show up. Maybe the university makes the same, although concession-wise, they still would lose out on several $1 million there over the course of the season. It's still about the messaging, though. And if you have half the stadium full when it's Notre Dame and everyone's already bought the tickets and everyone's already on board and people don't show up to that game, to your point, Michael, what would that say about future years and your ability to keep those same fans buying tickets and spending money?
Yeah. And I think people are just burnt because they feel like, Yurachek or whoever doesn't really care about the fans. That would be the ultimate of not caring what the fans think, is if you look at, hey, you gave me your tickets and I don't care how many people show up. I'm not listening to any messaging or anything like that. That's rough.
I think,
go ahead.
I was just going to say it's a little bit unclear in the release here, but I think that they're just announcing the opponents, like who you're playing and where. These 4 years, I think they'll probably do like the weekly, schedule and dates and everything a little bit later.
Okay. Well, then I was just really hoping we could just put that matter to rest because everyone's going to be arguing about LSU at the end of the season and all that. Go ahead.
I was just going to say they did have, they're talking about like the things they're considering and all that. And they had final week matchups and they had a couple listed there. So maybe they will at least do that in terms of who teams are going to wrap the season with. So.
Yeah, because that will be the fascinating thing. Is I started thinking about it more. I'm like, well, Oklahoma and Oklahoma State normally used to play at the end of the season, and then they made it Oklahoma and LSU, but Oklahoma and LSU are no longer a permanent opponent of each other. But will they still play? I don't know. I really don't know. But we'll have to wait and see and find out. But let's go ahead and get into our heavy hitters presented by HT Roofing and Construction. Because if you're up here in the Northwest Arkansas area, really across the state, storms can happen, rain can happen, winds, lightning, all that stuff. most important thing you need to make sure that you have in these times of severe weather is a good roof. Because if you don't have a good roof, it's all pretty pointless. You don't want any of your possessions to get ruined. You don't want any of your home to get ruined. And it could all be prevented if you just get that free inspection with HD Roofing Construction, because they are going to use, for their professionalism, they're going to use their top quality materials and that expert installation for all of your roofing needs, no matter what it is, no matter what it needs be. You need to call them today and set up that free inspection, and they'll let you know if you need a new roof. And it's 501-428-0429. That's 501-428-0429. They'll even tell you, hey, your roof's great to go. You don't need us at all. And they're always going to be honest with you about everything. You can also check them out at hdarkansas.com. It's the Heavy Hitters segment here on Inside Arkansas Live, presented by our friends over at HD Roofing. All right, guys. We, as a collective group, decided last night that we would have a pretty unanimous heavy hitter today. That's not to say that we can't have others, but I think we're all on board with this one. And one of the funniest things that I've seen in a while, as it's dealing with the SEC and dealing with some teams. Ole Miss and LSU, for instance, they're playing each other. Big game. Yeah, really good game. A historic rivalry, as some may say. And it came out here this week that Lane Kiffin's daughter, Landry, has officially announced that she is in a relationship with Whit Weeks, who is LSU's star linebacker, the week of the Ole Miss and LSU game. I just want to throw it to you. What are y'all's thoughts on this wild announcement? This wild, like, it's not like Landry Kiffin's kind of like, no one's going to know. Like, what do you make of this whole thing of the coach's daughter of Ole Miss dating a star linebacker for LSU and announcing the relationship the week of the game that they play each other?
I think this is hilarious, man. This is the type of comic relief that you need during these dire times. It's hilarious. I have a feeling that this was coordinated to a degree, just the way that it's all played out. I don't even care. The hard launch on social media of this is absolutely electric. Lane Kiffin's responses to it on social media have been electric. Did you guys see where he was like, hey, take the over, so I don't even know who the heavy hitter is here. Is it the situation? Is it the kid Weeks for getting the opposing coach's daughter? Is it Lane Kiffin for how he's handled this? We could go in a lot of different directions here, but at the end of the day, I just love the entire scenario. I think it's freaking hilarious.
I'm with you, Curtis. All of the above. Everyone is doing awesome stuff here, including Landry, by the way, because she's the one who put out the post, which tells you that she's in on it. Like, obviously, she knew the weight of how it's going to be. She knows the timing of this. I think this is awesome. I think this is like just hilarious stuff. Reminds me a little bit. I mean, it's very different, but when Bumper Pool was dating Michael Shear, Michael Shear was dating Bumper Pool's sister. That was kind of a cool thing. But I remember when I was in high school, one of my best friends, he was a quarterback of our team, and he was dating our rival's daughter, our head coach's daughter. And he used to talk about how awkward it was that they would hang out and they would go on trips together and they would play. I mean, it was a huge rivalry game, but they knew each other like growing up. So it's a little bit different. This is hilarious. And I'm inclined to agree with Lane, though. I think he's going to dial up some stuff. Not that he wasn't going to already. I mean, he was going to have a game plan for Whit Weeks. I think he's gonna go out of his way to like get him matched up with Kawan Lacey or something like that.
Listen, my take on this, and if you feel it's dumb or whatever, I don't care. This is why college football will always be my favorite sport. This does not happen in any other sport. It can't. And if it did, it would be looked down upon like, hey, this is just, there'll be a statement made by a commissioner being like, this is just stuff that doesn't have to do with anything. Like, it would be frowned upon. Only in college football can we have this madness and something that has nothing to do with the game, but become so ridiculously funny and entertaining for all the weirdest of reasons. And I love it. I absolutely love it. It reminded me, I don't know if you guys remember the game, but Brady Quinn's sister was dating not AJ Hawk, or no, it was AJ Hawk, who was on Ohio State. And I remember they played each other in the BCS bowl game, and the TV nonstop was going to her because she had a split Ohio State Notre Dame jersey. Either way, I remember seeing that. I'm like, that's kind of weird. This is a little bit different because it's a coach's daughter. and it's Lane Kiffin's daughter, and it's LSU, and it's just all the stuff. Because I saw somebody in the chat, I think I started, or maybe I didn't, but they're like, "Oh, well, Lane Kiffin already knew." Oh yeah, it was a part Broken Hogs. Like Lane knew that they were dating. The whole thing is a stunt to drive hype on social media. Well, I won't read the last part, but either way, it's like,
No,
of course it was. Of course it is. That's the point. That's what makes it so funny, is because it's like, this is done on purpose, and it's hilarious. I think it's hysterical. I love it. I love college football for all of these reasons. You know, I know it's about winning and losing. I know it's about the game on the field, but this is always going to be the type of stuff that makes me just so happy that I'm so in love with college football.
Has anybody checked on the dog? Has Juice Kiffin weighed in on this situation on Twitter? Because that's a great account as well. So I don't know, man. It's hilarious. I saw, actually, let me find it real quick because it was a super chat from David Flippo here. He says, I'm thinking this is Lane Kiffin trying to line up another portal commit. First of all, don't put anything past that, man. I mean, Weeks might be a pro this time next year, but that's a risky business. Think about what happened with Carson Beck. You know, he goes to Miami because he's hooking up with the Cavender twins, or one of them, or whatever. And then he had that tough summer. Next thing you know, he beats Notre Dame in week 1. He's crying there on the sidelines because of all the emotional turmoil that he's been through there. So this comes at a risk, but I wouldn't rule out what you're saying here, David.
John, you made a great point that like it's perfect college football because it also lends itself to reactions like this, of like people trying to read between the lines and be like, this must be a sign that the coach is going this way. And, you know, it's like, people start like trying to tie things when really it's just like funny things happening. It's just like, you know, two social media influencers having sex. Like, it's really not like a huge, like groundbreaking story, but it's like, that's what we're like now, like, hey, is this a sign about something else? By the way, Nick Saban's daughter dated someone. She dated Clint Trickett, who played at West Virginia, and they opened the season against Alabama. I completely forgot about that, but then until this, and now it kind of made me think, and I'm like, there was somebody else. It was Saban's daughter, which that's an interesting move, honestly. I wouldn't recommend that. This is funny. I would not date Nick Saban's daughter before playing his defense.
No, that'd be a rough go of it. But yeah, I just love it for the entertainment. If you take it anything seriously, folks, then you're kind of like part of the joke. Like you're really getting up in arms about it. It's just funny. And I know I always use this example, but it was like last year when Vanderbilt beat Alabama, they tore down the goalpost. They walked the goalpost, the students and everybody, down Broadway in Nashville with a police escort helping them, making sure that they were okay. And they tossed the goalpost into the river. And it was celebrated. Like, there's just no other sport that does that. Not a single sport. And that's why college football is just the best for things like that and for stories like this. So definitely a unanimous heavy hitter over here. Did you guys have any other entries into the heavy hitters besides Lane Kiffin's daughter dating an LSU linebacker?
I just got a couple ones real quick here. Also, should we clip this out and send it to HD Roofing and Construction, like the loud thunder booming over our microphones as we're doing their segment? I mean, it's kind of poetic. If you look up at the end of the day and you're worried about your roof, then hit up HD Roof. They'll come out for a free inspection. You got the number right there, 501-428-0429. Get signed up for your free inspection today. I want to give a heavy hitter shout out to the same exact duo that I gave a heavy hitter shout out to on the pod at the Palace this morning, the Ratliff twins. And if you're hip to basketball recruiting, it's a pair of 7-footers who are twins. They go to the same school that Boogie Flan did, that the Arkansas staff has gone out to see like a half dozen times this month since the recruiting period opened up. Chuck Martin's been out there. Kenny Payne's been out there. John Calipari was there yesterday with his son, Brad. And we've just been kind of waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting. They finally offered those two guys today, a couple top 50 recruits there in the 2026 class. So notable, wanted to throw that out there. And then the other one, this is it's a little bit somber, and I just didn't know where else to put it in there. But we were talking right before the show that Darrell Walker announced today that KK Robinson is going to miss the season again with another injury. And that's just brutal, man. I feel for the kid. I know it didn't work out for him at Arkansas, but we were talking about it before we got started here. This is a young man who's in the same class as Moses Moody and Jalen Williams and Devo. And he's still trying to play here. And he finally had a season where he really broke out. Looked like he found a home for himself, played really well. Back-to-back years missing the season with an injury here. And this is an opportunity for him to play with, his bro and all that stuff at Little Rock. They, projected to have a really good team. and he's going to miss out again on that again. So I hate that for him. It's not a heavy hitter in a good way, but I just want to give KK a shout and just think about him and the family, man. That just sucks. So at any rate, some tough news there for him, but you persevere. I don't know if he can come back for another year. Now, would it be like a 6th or 7th year? They'll have to figure that out, but tough stuff, man.
Yeah, definitely some tough stuff there. Hate to hear that for KK. My heavy hitter is Dan Campbell, the Lions head coach. Man, I tell you, one, he's just like a fun personality that we all love. You know, we all love football coaches that like look, act, and move around just like football coaches, and he is definitely that. And he's done a great job with the Lions. I mean, I know they lost in the playoffs last year, but they were one of the best teams in the league. They lose their OC and their DC, and then they lose week 1 in Lambeau, which there's no shame in doing that. But I got to be honest, everyone, including myself, kind of looked at it and were like, you lose your OC and your DC. It might be it for Detroit. Maybe the window is closed. Like, they missed their chance. They looked awesome the last couple of weeks. I think they scored like 50 last week, and then they beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football last night. I was sad for Lamar, of course, whose team let him down once again. Shout out to Derrick Henry for another fumble, another game-losing fumble. Kind of bizarre that Derrick Henry, like the best running back of the generation, has now kind of cost the Ravens 2 games. But credit to the Lions, man. They're doing all the cool stuff. Did y'all see their 2-point, it wasn't a 2-point conversion. It was like a 4th and 1 at the goal line. Did you see their play they did where it was like wide receiver jet sweep to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then he did an option to Jahmyr Gibbs? I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's cool stuff. I love watching that. And I think everyone saw the OC leave and were like, oh, yeah, that's going to be it. This big dumb idiot Dan Campbell's not going to be able to make it work. Dude's still out there making it work, man. They were really good last night, and I wanted to give him a shout out, man. He's a guy that's easy to cheer for sure.
Yeah, I also wanted to throw out there too that MLB is going to be implementing the automated ball strike challenge system starting in 2026. So for you baseball fans out there, each team will be given 2 challenges, and they can keep them if they're successful. Challenges can only be initiated by a pitcher, catcher, or batter, and the request must come right after the pitch itself. So, more additions to the baseball game side of things. So we'll see how that goes. But either way, a few more super chats here before we get out. Shout out to guy Dre just says take the over when talking about the Lane Kiffin thing. He's like, yeah, it's Lane's great, man. Lane's great on social media. David's over here. Appreciate it. David says, I'm thinking this is Lane Kiffin trying to line up another portal commit. You're right. As we brought up there. And also Quinn says Lane Kiffin pisses me off. He constantly talks about Auburn. So, well, yeah. But, you constantly talk about Auburn too, Quinn. So, I mean, do you piss yourself off? I mean, come on. What are we talking? I know what you're meaning, Quinn. Don't get mad at me. I'm just messing with you.
It reminds me of the Bob Holt and John Calipari exchange from SEC Media Day. Why are you always talking about Arkansas? Are you always talking about Kentucky?
Yeah. It's like, just man, I missed that exchange. Let's see. Also, Merck Chevy says, Andrew, we'd be at Bomb Stadium Friday for the game.
Yes, and everyone should be. It's 6 p.m. They're playing themselves. It's just a little scrimmage, maybe 6-7 innings. But you'll get to see all the top arms throw, except for Game Gackle. You'll get to see all the top bats play. We'll see if they load up the starting lineup like they did last week, which was cool. But yeah, they're going to sell concessions, free parking, free admission. You just pull up at Bomb, man. Have some fun, watch some baseball if you have not gotten a chance to do so yet.
Yeah, it's good. So there's that, and then next week is the prime time at the Palace next Friday, correct? Mm-hmm. And then is the exhibition game the next Friday for basketball?
No, that's the 24th, but it's the next weekend. I guess it's on Sunday. Is the tip-off tour, Hot Springs?
Okay,
yeah.
Okay.
And you've also got exhibition baseball games going on that October 10th and 11th, same day as the Tennessee game. So like the next 3 weeks, we got a lot of basketball and baseball things happening.
A lot of things that don't count, but that we're going to overanalyze and talk about a lot. I'm looking forward to that.
Dude, absolutely. I cannot wait for prime time at the Palace and just to be able to be like, listen, I don't see how this team does not go to the Final Four.
Oh, absolutely.
I just need to see like one dunk from Nick Pringle, and I'm like, all right, that's all I needed to see. I'm out.
I'm anxious to see how this is going to work out because they literally have on the release like, hey, this is going to start at 8 and we're introducing the men's and women's teams and we got this laser light show and we're doing a dunk contest, which I cannot wait for us to debate who's going to win that. And then the men are going to scrimmage. So I don't think this is going to be the like the full 4-quarter red-white game experience. Maybe they just do like one half or something like that. But I don't care, man. Just going to get to see them get out there and get up and down a little bit. It's going to be a lot of fun, dude.
I think it probably will be one half, which, by the way, I think this is more about the spectacle. I hope every player gets a walkout song too.
Yes.
I remember that's what Duke used to do, and I used to love that. I hope that every player gets their own like introduction with their own like song, and they can dance if they choose, do it, in which they will.
I just hope Cal has some sort of celebrity there. Doesn't have to be in the game, but it's like, hey, welcome Brian Cashman. All right. Like, just somebody random that he knows and like hangs out with, just to really troll or something. I don't know. That'd be great. Or bring all of his former Kentucky players that are great now and have them wear Razorback gear and just really, really stick it to them. It'd be pretty great.
Rumor has it there's going to be a non-Drake, non-Duke Deuce rapper there.
Oh,
really?
Mm-hmm.
Would it be somebody I have heard of?
Andrew for sure. I don't know about you. Maybe.
Well, can you give me a region of the country? Do you know where he's from?
I actually don't know where he's from. No.
Okay.
But I know exactly who he is, and you will too.
Okay. Well, I'm excited about that. That's a good enough tease. Speaking of cool people that John Calipari could potentially bring, did y'all see John Wall's statement the other day? Not about Cal. He just said that he's like, y'all wouldn't believe this. He's like, but there's some players in the NBA who drink all day and all night and they don't sleep and don't do anything, and they still lead their team in scoring. Sounds like a guy who used to drink and sleep and didn't get any sleep and led his team in scoring. Like, how else would he know that?
Yeah.
Well, also not only that, but I'm like, I feel like that was what the Last Dance documentary talking about Michael Jordan. That's what that guy, all he did was smoke cigars and play like 36 rounds of golf and poker. It's like, yeah, I mean, that's why they're above and beyond gifted athletes. Also, shout out to Guy Dre. Got the other super chat in. He says, next year I'll try and get y'all into the Coach Cal fantasy camp. Would love fun to have Curtis there too. Yeah, appreciate you, Dre. He's the reason why I was able to go this past week, and it was awesome. So definitely an experience, man. Because you can do it. You could be a player or a coach. You're gonna be a player. You're gonna be suffering, like, because they technically require you and want you to play 6 games in 3 days, 20-minute halves. 6 games in 3 days. So
wait, did you play?
I did.
You played a little bit. Did you get some shots up?
I got one.
You made one?
There's more to basketball than scoring. There's a lot more.
No, yeah, I'm with you. Listen, if I were at that same event, John, I'd be setting screens. I'd be, dishing. I'd be, picking the worst guy to defend. I would not be shooting much.
Fly. I would let it fly out there. Was anybody hooping?
Oh, yeah. There was people that I'm just like, all right, chill out, bud. Okay.
Was Cardale Jones there?
Was who?
Cardale Jones.
I think so.
Ohio State quarterback. He was there last year, apparently, and everybody said he was like the MVP of the basketball.
No, I don't think he was. But, dude, there was some like crazy stuff where like there was this one team that like was missing some players, but because their GM was some big dog, he was able to bring in some guy that used to play D1 basketball just randomly. But everyone's like, he's not even part of the camp. And it's like, oh, hey, it's another player. It's like, what is going on? Like, what do we do? It's just like
ringers to a fantasy camp.
Yeah, like only to play like one game. And of course they lost. And everyone's like, what is happening? So between that, but shout out to Brad Calipari. He coached us up, man. He got us going. And
how is he doing? Because he's going to be the next son that replaces a legend at an SEC school. So
earn not given.
Curtis, he could have been great for all I know, but I don't. But I know he was trying to get us to play the 2-3 zone, and man, he might as well have just been speaking Chinese to some of it. It's just like, all right, stand here. It's like, all right, okay, now what do we do? Well, you got a guard, but who? He was just confusing. But either way, I appreciate his ability to try to mix things up. But yeah, cool, it was a lot of fun. And sorry, Quinn, before we get out of here, I didn't mean to duck your super chat, but he said, by the way, I also wanted to say, I think it's stupid that Arkansas athletic department pretends y'all don't exist. They're a bunch of snowflakes.
Well, credit to your athletic department, Quinn, because they acknowledge that we exist.
The best experience I've had at an opposing venue was at Auburn, hands down.
Yep.
Super accommodating. They were awesome. I said it before, but like their media row there at Neville Arena, they have it split to like, there's one section that's for your standard, old school journalists who are writing articles and everything else. And they have a whole section for like radio, podcasts. They encourage you to live stream from there. pretty cool. They're hip to the times, man, and appreciate them. Looking forward to going back.
Yeah. Also, I got to the same thing with the Ole Miss people when I was there in Oxford. Very accommodating, very, very awesome people that were very helpful, and it's always appreciated so much. Either way, guys, final thoughts before we roll out here for the day and try not to get taken up by this storm.
Yeah, no kidding, man. The only thing I want to throw out there real quick, I saw a handful of people in the chat. I know we're very football heavy today. They were asking me about Cole Clower. He was scheduled to be in town for a visit. One of the best shooters in the 2026 class. He was going to be here for prime time at the Palace and all that. He's been canceling some visits recently. He just announced a top 5 finalist. Arkansas wasn't in it. You want my reaction to that? I'm not necessarily surprised. Like they got into the game late here. It was notable that they got the visit scheduled, but it seems like he's kind of streamlining things. He had like 8 to 10 visits lined up, and he's not taking all those. And so my assumption would be if Arkansas is not in his final 5, he ain't visiting here either. And we move on to bigger and better things.
So you're saying it's not there's not bad things happening on the Razorback basketball recruiting front. You think they're going to be okay somehow?
Yeah, I think they're going to be just fine. Did we
lose John? Wow, I thought something was going on. You lost John, bro. Holy cow.
This is amazing. Should we just keep going or
I wonder if the storm got him.
I think the storm might have got him. It's getting nasty over my way. So,
well, my final thought was going to be everyone stay safe because it does seem like it's going to be bad. It stopped pouring at my house. John just said his power went out officially. So,
okay,
I think we're good to close the show, right?
I think so, man. I think we're
Appreciate
good.
everybody for being here. John was going to say something about, your afternoon, this afternoon, same sports same sports channel.
Nailed it.
We'll see you guys tomorrow. Okay. Be back here at noon, same time, same place.